Hey, how's it going? I know. Crazy hectic, right? Well, sit back and relax and welcome to the Mom and Pop Spot. Help me welcome my dad and the host of the show, St. Patrick.
Welcome, everybody out there. How are you all doing? Are you awake? Rough night because your little one decided to have an all nighter? Are you being bullied by your preteen? Is your newly child adult trying to tell you that he's already an adult and they don't need to hear advice from you? Welcome, parents of back talking, emotional roller coaster teenagers and supporters of the show. This is episode number 7 of the Mom and Pop Spot podcast. Today, we have an episode that will have your teens rolling their eyes and saying, whatever. We have a guest who used to terrify me with her confidence, intelligent, dedicated, and focused. A dear person who I'm honored to have as a friend and to have on the show. I think the song These Boots Were Made for Walking was made for her. Please help me welcome Jen Mazzuto to the show. There we go. Yeah.
Thanks.
See, I'm still nervous.
That's okay.
Yeah. We have a returning guest who is not afraid to stand her ground. She is an amazing person. Reached out to her and she was like, I'm in. So I appreciate it. Thank you for coming back to the show. So thank you. Please help me welcome back the dangerously adorable, my confident friend, Noemi, to the show. How are the both of you doing today?
Good.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kickoff to NFL. So I know that was a big one. So I apologize. But I mean, my team doesn't go on until tonight. So yeah, I wasn't worried about it. Yeah, so I was good. Before we go into the realness, I wanted to ask, what does your back seat look like?
Clean.
Yeah.
Clean.
I mean, I asked because mine looks like I'm about to pull off the greatest heist or rob somebody. I got a ton of masks. I don't know if you actually know I took the mask down because I had to give a couple people rides. But yeah, they're my kids' masks. So if anytime anybody sees me riding around, it's not for HOV and it's not because I live in a bad neighborhood. It's literally because of the fact that they're my kids' masks. And I wanted to make use of them. I don't want to forget that for the viewers out there, we have dominance in this room. Both of these women in here are key players today. So I wanted to throw that out before I forget.
He's hyping us up.
I
all
know.
right?
I am because there's a lot of
to
power.
live up for.
No, I mean, there's a lot of power in here. So I wanted to make sure the viewers know. Last fun question. Is it okay for a baby to be born on your birthday?
Of course.
Right? I mean, it seems
Yeah.
pretty logical, obvious
Maybe
question.
doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. Well, no, because my sister.
Well, I guess you can. Yeah. If it's
My sister, she's about to have her baby and jokingly saying like, oh, the baby should be born tomorrow. But then she's like, I don't want to, I don't want you to feel bad or whatever the case is. I'm like, nah, that's a blessing to me to have the baby born on your birthday. But she was under the impression like, oh, I think it's a bad thing. But nah, like I'm good over here.
celebration.
Yes. Mm-hmm. What were you both like as teens?
Oh, horrible.
Like in what way?
I was always getting into trouble.
Yeah. Like what kind of trouble?
Trouble with the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
a lot of trouble.
All those tickets have been paid for, so we don't have any felonies or we don't have any criminals in here.
She didn't get caught.
Not that are unsealed.
Yeah. All right.
I have some sealed records.
We won't go over those deep, hard, or those criminal records and stuff like that here. How are you as a child? A teen.
As a teen,
Yes.
I was very smart, and that's how I got away with a lot of stuff because
Okay.
I would get permission to leave.
Yeah.
So my mom really never knew what I was doing. She's like, "Oh, she'll be back before sundown," So.
It used to be fun back then because street lights would come on, and
Mm-hmm.
you could roam the streets. Like I'd be in South Phoenix and then be back in my house in Maryvale and be like, oh, I'm good now. Like no one would ever know what you were doing. And stuff like that.
It's different these days for sure.
Yeah.
The things that I did as a teen, I'm looking at my son and I'm like, no, you can't even go out without me knowing exactly where you're going, what you're doing. But
now it's easy to trace them. So even if he goes out, like, that their phone, just tap in, I see where you're at. Like,
yeah,
that's a good thing. What is the craziest thing you did as a teen?
Probably things I shouldn't mention.
All right. We won't mention them then. Yeah. What about you?
A fun part is that I got a fake ID, and I used to go to these clubs that they would open up like in warehouses.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking 90s, so they would be there's a warehouse and there's a rave going on, and
Yeah.
there I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just came back from a rave too. I gotta throw that out there. So
And that was preteen. I mean,
Yeah.
it's scary
Yeah.
sometimes when you think back,
Yeah.
12, 13 years old doing this.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you regret anything you did in your teenage years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about?
No.
No.
Well,
I asked.
you know,
I asked because I used to get in a lot of trouble, as a teen. Like, jumping out, just a lot of peer pressure, as a teen and stuff like that. And even, my pre-adult years and stuff like that, I used to get in trouble all the time. Tell me how you both were reacting in this situation. A Brooklyn mom was arrested after attacking her teen bully. Apparently, the mom had notified the school, and when nothing had been done, she decided to take actions in her own hands.
The mother attacked the bully of the
Yes.
child. I mean, I guess the age doesn't matter. If it's
Kind
a
of.
minor,
It was a teen.
a teen.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel the mother had her responsibilities to
Uh-huh.
talk to that teen's parents.
Mhm.
And
Say the parents didn't give a shit. Like, they were just like, I don't care. Or maybe they just didn't have that control of the kid.
I mean, it's really hard to be put in that position as to what I would do.
Right.
If I had exhausted all my resources, I mean, at this point is where I have to remove myself and my children out of this space, or really, really spearhead full forward to make it known to the education
Yeah.
center, the school, the district, what's really going on,
Right.
and be that angry mom until I'm heard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's ever okay for you to
Yeah.
put your hands on anyone,
Yeah.
especially a child
Uh-huh.
that's not your own.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of my viewpoint. You exhaust all resources you can before even thinking about doing something like that.
Yeah. What options do you think that someone would have out there versus resulting into violence on a teen too, by the way?
I mean, first thing I would do is go to the school, go
Yeah.
to the parents. Um, if I needed to go to law enforcement, I would probably do that if that
Uh-huh.
would be, if nothing else works.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another story. A Tennessee teen is shot fatally after doing a beer run. The store clerk never called the cops, and the teen never posed a threat, never posed a threat with the exception of stealing the beer, catching up to the teen, then firing several shots at him.
Yeah. My thought on that as
Yeah.
to if it's not right.
Yeah, well, obviously,
he
it's
didn't
not right.
Yeah. I mean, the reaction. I mean, I wonder what this business owner, is
Uh-huh.
now thinking, and would he do that again or not? But that's a really hard decision for him to have made during that, knowing that person was zero threat to them.
The
Yeah.
teen didn't have a gun on him, so that's what I meant when he didn't pose a threat. Like, he just took the beer
Was
and
it
he
all?
ran.
It was just because a case of beer.
That's it.
Let him go.
Just a case
Right.
of beer. And stores get, and I don't want to put this that stealing is good because it's
No,
not good.
no.
But at the same extent, a lot of times these stores have insurance, but also there's also these mom and pop spots that don't have insurance. No life is worth a case of beer
No,
or anything from the store.
no.
You know what I mean? Um,
You're not only risking that person's life, that
Right.
teenager,
yeah,
you're also risking yours because you're very well going to go to jail.
yeah,
So you're ruining two lives for
Uh-huh.
what? A case of beer?
yeah,
That's crazy to me.
yeah. And it's the one thing that caught my attention when hearing that story. The one key factor was the fact that he never called the cops.
Right.
Not once did he ever think like, oh, let me call the cops before I go into, shooting this teen down. It wasn't one shot. It was several shots that he caught up to the teen and then fired the shots, which is mind blowing. Cause I'm like, put the gun down and just, I mean, if you're an adult and you're going after a teen,
Mhm.
why couldn't you just apprehend him?
Yeah.
Versus
Yeah.
taking his life? Cause now the parents they get the life sentence. They get the life sentence because now they're without their teen.
Mhm.
He might get a slap on the wrist because you hear how not knocking our government, but you hear a lot of times where these people they just get off with probation, a couple years.
Right.
Have you talked to your kids about the dangers of being a teen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here and there.
yeah.
No.
What are when you're talking to your teens about the dangers, what are you more or less telling them about?
Well, in my case, for my kids, it's the partying,
Hmm.
the we hear it all the time, the drugs,
Right.
Mhm.
And
and what they're
fentanyl's a big
considered.
one right now.
Yeah, and you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
You don't know if it's been laced, how many hands and then just overall, you don't even know what you're consuming, but because you're there, you're
Right.
with friends, you're in the environment,
Uh-huh.
and that's your tribe of people, you're going to feel pressure to do it or participate.
Yeah.
That is my biggest, because my kids drive. And then like, okay, you have permission to go out and do your thing, but you're still expected to come home. How are you coming?
Yeah.
My kids are not perfect.
Mhm.
And I know they smoke weed and I know they drink alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, what can I do?
Yeah.
I do tell them not to be responsible, but that's my fear.
Right.
The coming, like, they can take someone's life
Uh-huh.
because they're
Yeah.
under the influence.
Yeah.
Like the decisions that you need to make as a teenager, I tell them, I'm afraid when you get older of age or of drinking, like, they're tough kids or whatever. They don't measure up to men that
Yeah.
are at the bar and they've never had that interaction. So
Exactly.
I always tell them and I always talk to them and I let them know, like, trust me,
Uh-huh.
if you did mess up, you did something wrong, call me first.
Yeah.
Before you dig yourself in a deeper hole, just trying to hide. I don't care how big or how small,
Yeah.
who's involved. Like I go at extremes as examples with them sometimes, just because it could happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about with you?
I mean, my son's pretty lazy.
Yeah.
So he doesn't go out a ton, which is great.
That's a good thing.
You know,
That's a
Yeah.
good thing. He's like, I want my kids home where I can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does stay home a lot.
Yeah.
But I think there's always that fear
Right.
of, when he's out, what he's doing, because um he likes himself a lot.
Okay.
And he thinks he's kind of like the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I think we all
And
did. At least for me, that's how I felt when I
that
was.
scares me when
Yeah.
he's out, because I always, not that he's going to do something, but somebody will do something to him because he's so,
Confident.
just confident and
Yeah.
tough, like, oh, whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my fear, that
I'm very-
somebody will do that to him.
And I'm very fortunate that not anybody really tried me, because of the fact that I probably would have got my ass kicked more times than,
Mhm.
I did a lot of dumb stuff, as mentioning earlier. And it was because of peer pressure. I once jumped off a school bus because I thought we kind of grew up kind of poor. And one of the kids on the bus were like, I'll give you $20 if you jump off the school bus, not
Sure.
out the window, off the top of the school bus. And then another person's like, I'll give you $20. And then before you know it, like, I just kept hearing $20. So I'm like, sure, I'll do it, because I was that, kid that always wanted to show off and everything else, jump up on the top of the school bus.
That's my son.
Yeah. And I jumped off, sprained my leg. Never once did I get any $20. I didn't get anything of it. I had a spring leg. And then my mom's like, okay, as a lesson, you're going to go camping with your cousin's dad over the weekend. So, and he did not think it was funny. So he had me walk the whole entire time that we were camping. It was a good lesson learned, but at the same time, I'm like, man, like, why was I so stupid?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's exactly probably what my son would do too.
yeah,
He hears money and he's like, I'll do it. Sure,
Yeah.
no problem. Not even thinking about what the consequences will be afterwards.
yeah. But at the same time, I think those lessons were important, because
Sure.
had I not gone through that stuff, I'd probably be outside jumping off a school bus right now.
Oh yeah. I think all the lessons, all the lessons that
Yeah.
we go through as teenagers,
Right.
kind of mold how we are as adults. I mean,
Yeah.
for 100% that happened to me.
Yeah.
I was probably, I was horrible as a teenager. I was terrible to my parents,
Yeah.
terrible to my family. And I regret it every single day. But it also, all of those things that I did and I went through
Yeah.
shaped kind of who I am now.
Uh-huh.
And I have such a greater respect for everybody and my parents and,
Yeah.
yeah.
And for the bonus edition, we're gonna have her talk about every single thing that she did wrong. I'm just kidding. But
that'll take a few hours.
But we are gonna take a break. We'll be back right after these message.
Abari Entertainment Films present There's Only One Name for News. with Damon and Aisha. Habari Live Podcast. Habari Entertainment. A race against time. On a quest for glory. Habari News Weekly, HabariEntertainment.com. Catch us for more. Visit us, HabariEntertainment.com.
We're back. They did want to let the viewers out there to know, but because we're kicking off NFL, we all agreed that it's, Dallas Cowboys, we're wishing for a win today.
Stop it.
Houston Oilers.
I don't know about that, but so you both have teams. How's that going currently? I know it's rough, but
you held your breath.
but we're saying that because there's viewers out
Yeah.
there that are going through a lot of they're like, man, I just want to just kick my kid's butt.
Yeah. So my son just turned 18 last month.
Uh-huh.
And we're facing a lot of difficulties
Right.
as far as trying to guide him to be an adult.
Uh-huh.
A lot of what he thinks right now is everything's going to happen like that. And tomorrow I'm going to have a job. Tomorrow I'm going to have a car. Tomorrow I'm going to live on my own. And I'm like, bro, you're so
Don't
wrong.
work that way. Yeah.
It does not work that way. And
Yeah.
he's like, we're just trying to work with him to
Right.
say, hey, these things come, but they come slowly and they have to come in succession. You can't get a room for rent when you don't have a job.
Yeah.
How are you going to pay for it? And then he looks at me and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Little backstory. My son, I'm from California
Uh-huh.
and just moved to Arizona. My son decided to stay behind in California with his dad.
Right.
But that hasn't turned out so well. So he's
Yeah.
actually here in Arizona with me now. He's been here
Nice.
for a couple weeks. So
Nice.
we're working on it.
Yeah. Hey, that's the important, that's the positive key is the working portion of
Yes,
it.
we're
And that's,
working on it.
That's why I thought it was important to have you on the show because you can relate because the fact that I know you've gone through your struggles too and you can offer your advice and stuff like that. And, even to the viewers out there that just having those struggles, shit, even me later on when I got a 10-year-old that's, pushing my buttons and I'm like, man, in 3 more years, I got gloves in the closet. We're going to be boxing it out.
Attitude comes out.
Yes.
In a couple-
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop, the attitude.
Yeah. And I got 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Good luck to you.
yes, I already got gray hairs. And I'm like, this is not fair. I should be at least 40 before I get gray hairs.
Come on.
I mean, I look young.
Seriously, come on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned about your son wanting to pick up and go. And one of my boys wants to go to Florida. And he thinks I'm going to go. I got this. I'm like, I'm unable to pick up and go to Florida right now.
Yeah.
So it's the mentality that they have regarding life. It needs to happen now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right this minute.
Yeah. I'm just thinking too. We got boy moms on the show. So I'm going to do applause for that one. Yeah.
All boys.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Even me.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, yes. That's
Yeah.
why I said all.
Yeah. Tell me one thing you love about your kids.
I love how they're very loving.
Yeah.
No matter, 'cause I can go on about how bad they are. Having
Right.
twin boys and they have the same attitude, very stubborn. So
Yeah.
they bump heads a lot.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes the worst enemies, we have to split them up.
Yeah.
And throughout years, they have it even points to wanting to just move and go somewhere else.
Right.
But beyond all that, they're very loving, caring people. They truly, if you come into our house, they're very hospitable.
Yeah.
Do you want something to drink? Come on in. Hey, mom, let me go let her know. They're really loving, very caring. And so I really enjoy and love that trait of them that
Yeah.
they have, regardless that they're knuckleheads
Yeah.
more than half the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think for my son, just, he's sort of the same way. But he's always nice. Well,
Uh-huh.
to everybody else,
Yeah.
for the most part. He's funny. he's sarcastic. He's kind of just right along the lines of
Right.
his mom. And I don't think he ever has a real bad bone in his body,
Uh-huh.
So I think that's really one of the things that I love about him,
Yeah.
besides all the other
But
wild and crazy stuff.
kind of bittersweet just thinking about it because I mean, you look at them when they were babies and you're like, man, like so innocent, so peaceful, and then now you look at them now, it's like shit.
Yeah, the expectations of what you see in them so
Mhm.
cute and small and tender, and like
Yeah.
what you will be and become, and then slamming the door like
Yep.
the next day.
Yeah.
Like a slap in the face, like fucking reality.
Yeah. You have those Facebook memories that come up, and
Yeah.
then you see pictures of them when, they were like 6 and 7 and
Not
3, and
caring
you're
about what
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
man, they were such good kids back then." And, now you're just like, "Oh."
Yeah.
We had a little control at that time.
Right, a
Like
little
mama,
bit.
the
Yeah.
Now it feels like I have no control.
Yeah.
I told my son today before I left, I said, "I'm gonna be gone for a couple hours. Could you
Yeah.
actually, be a human today and take a shower and brush your teeth?" And, he's like, "Oh, sure, whatever,"
Yeah.
But those are things that I have no control over because
Right.
he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
I can't throw him in the shower. He's
Yeah.
6'1". He's, huge.
Yeah, it's kind of that's rough. You both had to deal with adversities as a single parent. How can you express those hardships to those who have had both mom and dad in the picture? Looking at yourselves because of the fact that you've had to do it all on your own, and you're like, man, all these other families think that they have it easy because they have both parents in the picture. What insight can you give them to say, it's not that easy. This is some key elements that you can, kind of know what to get into my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that easy, but it's not that difficult either,
Mhm.
especially when you go into that survival mode. I mean,
Right.
I hate to say that, but in a sense, it is now that as an individual, at least for myself as a woman, I still being employed, but now no longer having my ex-husband and the income, and you kind of start strategizing and looking at things differently.
Right.
However, just the way you manage still being a mom didn't really change. It's
Uh-huh.
just more of the putting all the components together to make sure that we move forward and strive out of this relationship that we're getting out of.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I never did it on my own,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
My son and his father, we were, from probably just very few weeks after my son was born, we split. So
Yeah.
we really were never together
Uh-huh.
my son's entire life. But he was always in the picture. But one of the things that is so difficult, and I'm going to say this, but also thank you for all the dads out there that are in the picture, no matter what your situation is.
Uh-huh.
Because even though it is extremely difficult attempting to co-parent
Yeah.
when you're not married or you're not together, just making sure that you're there as a parent is super important. So
Very, very important.
congratulations to all those dads that continue to be there for their sons,
Yeah.
for their daughters. But also, really looking at trying to co-parent as two single adults
Yeah.
is so incredibly difficult, especially when you are on complete opposite ends of the earth.
Yeah.
So that's kind of maybe what I would say to people who are together and married, become that cohesive unit to make sure
Yeah.
you're all on the same page when you're parenting your children, because if you're never on the same page, it's just so difficult.
Yeah. Because you had mentioned that, I did want to let the people out there know that 85% of all youth sitting in prison grew up in a fatherless home. 85%. So it's very important for fathers that are in the picture. Thank you for mentioning that. Why, when we think of single mothers, do we think of a society? We think that the mothers got left, as to give no credit to mothers, like she could have left on her own terms.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because I left on my own terms.
Yeah.
Um,
But when you think about it,
but when you,
hindsight,
right. When you think about that, I think you always think that the mom gets left and the mom's, always on their own. And,
Yeah.
what could the mom have done different to not be left or things like that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything to that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, and my situation was very similar. I chose to leave.
Yeah.
But because of the circumstances, that in a sense that it was just like, let's get up and go.
Right.
Mhm.
Where we went to a hotel,
Yeah.
and how long we stayed there, 2 months actually for one hotel night. But I had to in that moment
Uh-huh.
because I was making these choices. Now I had to figure out a plan.
Yeah.
Where am I moving into? What am I doing? However, I did it by choice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do want to point out there too for everybody out there, if it doesn't necessarily mean you need to be together if the relationship's unhealthy. If you
No.
realize that there's some type of harm, whether it be verbal or physical abuse, don't stay because of the kid, because that's not good. That's not healthy. It's not healthy for yourself, and it's not healthy for the kid, because now you're training your kid to understand what's acceptable. Get out of the relationship if it ends up being in those situations. What complications have you both been faced with your teens?
Um, with me, I mean, this year, out of all the years as a teenager, it had
Uh-huh.
hit the hardest. But behavioral health, the mental.
Yeah.
I mean, I I had to stop and think. My kids went through the whole online Zoom schooling during COVID. Like
Yeah.
that stopped everything. Our family vacations because we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, like their whole life went upside down. I never took that into accountability when trying to figure out what's going on with them.
Right.
um and it was a little too late when I
Uh-huh.
found out, in the matter of not being able to prevent certain events that happened this year. um but that's been the biggest challenge for us, is
Okay.
that I didn't see the signs. Not necessarily not when it was too late, but I wish could have helped my children with more advice and more clarity and more outside help,
Right.
to avoid the thoughts that go in their heads.
Okay. And I was gonna tell you too, because you had mentioned about the single parent thing. The reason why I was saying it is because I kind of grew up in a single parent thing. Both parents were in the picture. They were just, divorced. And I got my own time with them at different times. There was a time where me and my dad, we didn't talk. We went, a period where, actually a long period where we didn't talk. My mother, the same thing. So it was it was rough. And I wanted to read a few statements of single mothers' biggest regrets about parenting. Tell me if you guys can relate. Um, Starting with, I wish I believed people when they said having a child is hard. I mean, that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of says it all
I'm
right
like,
there.
it's a given.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I wish I had realized how much my kids would challenge me. Again, that's
Yeah.
kind of I regret being so hard on them and myself as a first time mom.
100%.
Yeah. I kind of see both sides to it though. I regret it because of the fact that sometimes you're hard on them, but then sometimes I feel like I should be more harder on them. Like I should be pushing them.
I regret the fact that I was so hard on myself,
Well, yeah,
and
that's what,
still
yeah.
am.
Yeah, because
There's a lot of regrets there.
but I think, and I even mentioned it to another mom, where those are the key elements that challenge us, that say we're good parents. If we're always questioning ourselves, we're good parents.
Yeah.
It's when we're not, when we're like, I don't care, whatever he's doing, whatever the case
Mhm.
is. Like, okay, you shouldn't be saying that, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would feel the same way, like that. Like I wouldn't necessarily regret what I said. It was more of the approach. Because usually, if I'm being mom mode, it's because it didn't go my way the first time. Now I'm like, it has to go this way, or make them understand. But probably my delivery would have been my
Yeah.
biggest regret, not my point to it.
Yeah. And the last one, I wish I had been less busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
More available.
Yeah. At any point, do you feel like you're failing as a parent?
I mean, I think we all feel that at some point or
Yeah.
another. I mean, I continue to feel that,
Yeah.
all the time. You wonder, if you could have done things differently, or, what if like you said, your approach was different, or, I mean, I think everybody always thinks that they're failing
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
I've been hard on myself several times. Like where did I go wrong in this matter? Like I'm
Mhm.
very, very business oriented. Thing has to run like this and it has to go. And I've always told my boys, you have to run this way, even balancing their checkbook or their banking account. They don't listen.
Yeah.
They don't like it. I'm like, they make their money and then a week later, they're asking me for $20 for gas. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like, I taught you. Like, that's my biggest thing, is that they're not following the way,
Right.
like, had I been their age and knew everything I know now, it's like what I tell them. I've been through it.
Yeah.
I know all the mistakes, and I'm going to save you thousands of dollars
Yeah.
from, mistakes that you can make. And they just like, well, we have to go through it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How open are you guys with your child, with your kids, teens?
I think I'm open enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel they need to know
Right.
he
And yeah,
he
I'm the
needs to
same
know
way.
everything,
Yeah.
right? But I think I'm open enough to say, like, I've made these types of mistakes in the past.
Uh-huh.
I don't want you following in my footsteps, and
Yeah.
I thank God every day that my son didn't follow in the footsteps that I did when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of different things, but none of the things that I really did as a teenager.
Yeah. Same?
What was the question again?
How open are you with your child?
Oh, okay.
Teen.
I'm very open with them. I mean, this is the same where I don't share a lot of stuff in the adult, like what's going on now.
Right.
And they know enough from the past. But as us as mom and kids, we're very open. Like,
Yeah.
I know stuff about my kids I shouldn't know. And I'm like, but however, they feel that comfortable with me to ask me because they have a question regarding it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I know too much.
What are some things you have discussed in your personal life with your child and children, kind of going on the same premise of that question?
I mean, I've discussed with my son that, when I was a teenager, I was in trouble.
Uh-huh.
And, I got in trouble with the law several times. I did a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to. I drank as a teen. I did, other things. And, I just try to make sure that some of those life lessons that I had, he realizes that that's not the path that he wants to go down.
Do you think that bad path had to do because you were a 49ers fan? I'm just kidding. I had to throw out there because of football. Yeah, I'm just
He's like,
messing.
he just blames it on
you
the
just
football.
had to do it to me. I knew
No,
it.
I'm just kidding. It's football season, so I had to do a little bit of it. What about with you?
Well, I mean, sharing with them, they know my life wasn't. How can I say they lived the life we grew up. I don't even know how to explain it. The life that my kids grew up in was
Mhm.
very religious,
Okay.
and so my past, like I had mentioned to you prior, I was married at the age of 14.
Right.
So my teenage years that's why I mentioned I was 13 and 12 and 13 doing this because I didn't have excuse me.
Yeah.
However, once they were little ones and still up to my oldest was 14 and the twins were 6 when we divorced. Oh, I'm sorry, he was 12, my oldest, and they were very okay what was going on because they saw
Uh-huh.
a lot of stuff going on. However, it wasn't really disclosed to them. So they have asked questions throughout the years, and I have answered them. But it's pretty much what they saw, not what was given.
Yeah.
Information given.
I do want to point out that the U.S. Department of Education study that found 39% of students 1st through 12th grade are fatherless. And this question, I guess, is more directed towards you, Noemi. How does your child not having their father in the picture affect the way that your child is today?
They did not have contact with their father for a period of time, and
Uh-huh.
that was the father's choice.
Yeah.
He was always open and available, especially the fact that it was court ordered.
Right.
The shared custody. And they for themselves saw how he was not wanting to be part of the life, or didn't pick them up when he said he would, and had every excuse. However, when they were happy with him, they were really excited to have him. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, as they got older, he got more distant, said stuff, would lie, and they held resentment to the
Uh-huh.
point where they were block him on his phone so they wouldn't have conversations. To the present day, right now, they talk. They go out for lunch. He's just not as present as he was available
Yeah.
to do it. So, I mean, it was not difficult because my husband now was dad to them since they were 6 years old.
Right.
So they had a father figure in their life present. But of course, having their dad in their life would have been best.
Yeah.
That was his choice.
What are you both doing to release the stresses and pressures of a parent? Are we doing anything? Because we should.
Me personally, not
Yeah.
right now.
No?
No.
We
No.
have
And
to
it's-
focus in on
It's
ourselves.
rough.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
gotta
It's
find
rough.
time. And I say that because I'm learning to be able to take time to myself. If we're not caring for ourselves, how do we think that we're gonna be able to take care of, our kids and stuff like that? Because we're hurting inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of self-care of myself mentally. Because I would sit there and then I just start sobbing, just thinking about something that happened 10 years ago to them, or
Right.
or something that happened to me, and it's that caring for yourself and being first and being grateful for yourself and the actions you're taking
Yeah.
is very well. So I've been on this personal development journey in the last 2 years of my life,
Yeah.
and I've included my kids in it, and it was very difficult.
Nice.
At times they didn't want to be there, or they didn't want to hear it, or they didn't want to be faced with the reality of the way you are is because of the way you grew up.
Yeah.
And it's good for me to be healthy mentally.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I do a lot of self-care in that manner.
In a
Need
study,
to get on that train.
yes,
It's
very
good.
much so. Yes,
Good.
reach out to her because she is a phenomenal person. I mean, I can only imagine the women empowerment is the key word. I can only imagine with you two to get together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In a study by Rizzo et of 181 mothers of children under 5 found that mothers who most strongly endorse the idea that children were sacred and that women are better parents than men were more likely to be depressed and experience less satisfaction with life. So take care of your mental, everybody. It's highly important. Yes, nurture your children, but don't sacrifice your own mental health. Please just take care of yourselves is what I'm trying to say. I don't get mixed up in the message. What advice could you offer to those who are dealing with common issues with your teens, and as mothers?
Patience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's for me. I like to think that I'm patient
Yeah.
sometimes. But I have realized throughout the years, my patience tends to run very thin
Uh-huh.
with my son. And that almost always backfires
Right.
in our conversations and our kind of day-to-day life.
Uh-huh.
So just practice patience
Yeah.
because you're going to need it. Every day that you deal with your teenager really tests your patience, it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah.
So, making sure that you are taking, like you said, take time for yourself, practice that extra patience. It'll go a long way to making sure that you don't get frustrated or lash out or say things that you shouldn't towards your teen because you've exhausted all of your patience and your resources.
Yeah.
I agree that patience is big because, like I mentioned before, I would in my delivery, and it's like, okay, let me sit back and look at the problem,
Right.
and let's talk it out like adults. Like I really want them to be responsible, young, hardworking adults.
Uh-huh.
I have to treat them that way, but obviously with the being disciplined as a mother, you want to come in a different manner, like respect me, what I say it is. And I struggled a lot last year during the summer. One of the boys wanted to leave the house, run away. He did. It was a lot to handle. Earlier this year, it was a lot more to handle, especially having the two. I'm dealing with two different problems.
Yeah.
But in the last 2.5 months has been really great, really great. And I'm not sure what clicked, but I really think coming closer to adult,
Yeah.
and seeing, because we've talked about, my husband and I, buying another property and
Yeah.
doing our thing. And since they're listening and they see like you're not including us in your plans, I'm like, well, you're gonna be 18. You want to go out, you want to do this. Like Dad and I, we're just gonna figure out what we're gonna do. And they're like, here's some money, this.
That's
Now
fine.
they're working,
Yeah.
they're putting in their weight. So I think they realize 18 is just a number. It doesn't mean you're prepared to go out there.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
What does discipline look like in the both of your houses? I mean, I can tell you what discipline looks like in our house when I was little, but
I mean, it's very hard to discipline an 18-year-old.
yeah,
You know, I mean, even when he was 17, um, you attempt,
yeah,
I think, and you know, I think a lot of times with my son, it's difficult because when he is with his dad, there really is no discipline.
right,
So that's what we've struggled with a lot is, discipline in my house looks different from discipline in his house.
yeah,
And when there's, an extreme lack of discipline
uh-huh,
on one side, it becomes very difficult to attempt to discipline on the other side
right,
because, they've not dealt with that before. And it's a rejection or it's well, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. Like,
yeah,
who are you? You're not going to tell me what to do. And then, at 17, 16, 17, 18 years old, what do you do when discipline doesn't go the right way?
right,
I can't, it's not like I can take away his toys and his games and tell him he can't go outside and play,
yeah.
you know,
Because
it's not like that.
I ask because it's like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like as my boys get older, what is discipline going to start looking like?
Mhm.
And in the future, I'm going to have an officer on the show where I want to ask what is legal, what's the legal discipline, because you never want to cross those boundaries either. I remember it's different now than it was back in the days because shoot, man, I remember my sister was acting up, my mom was fist fighting, they were fighting on the floor, and I'm like, I mean,
Whoa.
yeah, if it would have been today, I would have been like world star, but but it was pretty intense.
No, it's definitely different.
Yes, I
And
mean you can't even do anything because CPS is knocking at your door
Yeah.
and saying, "Hello, we're doing a random visit." It's like,
Yeah, and then they'll
Yeah.
investigate you for anything, pretty much that puts a child in a neglect mode. But it's true what you said. Like, what can you do?
yeah,
Right.
You love your child. You don't want to kick them out. You can kick them out to scare them
Right.
and do all that. At the end of the day, they're still coming home. They're still your child. It's not that in my situation that I accept the things that they do.
yeah,
But it's like, what else can I do? They know I don't approve of it.
right,
They know we have set rules. I tell them 100 times, don't ask me something I'm going to say no to.
yeah,
And then they'll put me on the spot in front of their friends. Can he stay the night over on the school night? I'm like,
yeah.
no.
And sometimes
Like-
it's hard. I remember one time when I think I was at Costco, and there was this kid. He'd probably maybe been like 12, 13. His mom's yelling at him, and his dad's yelling at him, and his kid looked so flustered, so confused, and I felt bad. Didn't know the situation. There's always three sides to the story, but at the same time, I really felt bad for the kid. And then I started thinking about my own personal time where I'm disciplining my kids, and I'm like, okay, like, where's the balance?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's hard when you're looking outside, looking in, not knowing the story because we don't know the story.
Yeah.
And then to end it before we go into the break, if you were told you could say one last thing to your kids, what would you say?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is I will always tell my child I love him.
Yeah,
I will support him in whatever decisions he makes as an adult,
yeah,
as long as he makes, good decisions.
right,
But just, yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
I think it really just, I love you and I will support you,
yeah,
as much as possible.
yeah,
Same. I
Yeah.
love you. Like, I think that in itself says a lot, and it's all wrapped up into everything you want to bring across. Like, I want to protect you, I want to take care of you, and support you in everything you do in your adventures and all that. But yeah, just loving your kids. I mean, it is hard
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
a parent.
it really is.
Because you're making decisions for another human being when the way you come across as a parent to them and how my son views me, I don't know if it's the way I was looking to come across to them. So,
Yeah,
we're making that stamp for them as to how they're going to be in life.
Yeah.
definitely is not easy.
No.
But we're gonna take a quick commercial break.
Abari Entertainment Films present There's Only One Name for News with Damon and Aisha. Abari Live Podcast. Abari Entertainment, a race against time. On a quest for glory. Habari News Weekly, HabariEntertainment.com. Catch us for more. Visit us, HabariEntertainment.com.
And we're back. So tell me about your thoughts on these situations. A mother thought she was going to get recognition for taking her son to a pride event in Pennsylvania and having him dance on a stripper pole, while a man in booty shorts and a woman who also attended the event in lingerie also helped the kid. They were kind of dancing around, and she was thinking that she was going to get a lot of recognition, but instead she received a lot of criticism and was targeted on social media. Was this the right approach, or what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think it's an environment for a child to be at.
Right.
Regardless of what the occasion was and all that. Obviously, you're putting this. I don't know if it was a female or male child.
It was
However,
I think it was a little boy.
I guess it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
However, it's the environment. You don't bring the child and expose them. Even if the child wants to do it and you do it at home or in your privacy, or I just think it's obviously if people are saying something, it was a very uncomfortable situation.
I think the boy was like around 5, maybe 7 years old, somewhere around that age range. Not that it really makes a difference, but what do you think?
I mean, I also agree.
Yeah.
I don't think that smaller children should be kind of put into those situations.
Right.
But I also don't feel it's anybody's choice to judge or tell someone else, you can't do that. Why are you doing that?
Right.
You know, I just don't. I don't feel like anybody needs to comment or is entitled to discuss how someone else chooses to lead their life.
Right.
You know, would I do those things? No.
Yeah.
Does that person choose to do that with their own life?
Yeah.
Sure. Who am I to judge?
I think I seen the bigger issue with that was the fact that, like, and I even mentioned it an episode or two ago, the exploitation, the fact that, you know, some of these parents are so quick to want to exploit their kids in a sense.
To get like,
thinking like, and it's like, at what point do you take away that value and say, you know, like, I'm going to record this for myself versus trying to put it out there and saying, look,
that's the age we live in.
Yes.
Social media is, you know,
scary, dangerous.
You know, people do all kinds of things for recognition.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about parenting. So it's also like, you know, she's the parent and she's okay with it, or the mother or the father are okay with it. So it's like, it's everyone's single opinion as to you look at it. I personally, I don't think children should be in that adult environment where, you know.
And it's hard because even say, let's take away that event. You look at TV, they're constantly throwing their subliminals with sexualized, you know, preferences. Even radio, no matter where you turn. I mean, you go with a lot of these places and it's plastered everywhere. So it's hard to move away from that factor.
Yeah.
When you're talking to your kids about dating, or when talking about dating with your kids, is there an age limit?
I mean, I probably wouldn't talk to my child if they were, you know.
I mean, not like a child, I guess. Let me rephrase.
Yeah,
your
a teenager.
Right.
I don't think that there's an age limit when you become a teenager.
Yeah.
Especially with, you know, how I grew up and what I did as a teenager.
Yeah.
I think the earlier you tell them and the earlier you open up those lines of communication,
right,
the better.
I asked that because now, not recently, but it's kind of a thing. You know, it's been a while. It's been a thing for a minute. The sugar mamas, I forgot what the other ones are called. They have the sugar mamas and they have the sugar daddies, where you can date like an older person and then they'll like pay you for it, whatever the case is. And I was just wondering, like, is there an age limit? Like, let's say your kids were like, I want to have a sugar mama, or I want to have a sugar daddy, or whatever the case is. It's a real question, but
oh my goodness, I don't know. I instantly went to the one child I know that would do that.
Yeah.
And the other one, like, maybe not.
Gotta pay the bills. I asked mama for $20 and she said no.
No.
So.
I mean, it's very hard because my kids started, you know, girls 14, 15, but the 16 is finally when the girls started coming in. And all I tell them is don't get attached, because there's some girls that will break their heart and then they're pissed off or they got ghosted, whatever the situation is. I'm like, You have zero clue what you want in
Yeah.
a woman.
Oh, my
You have not
goodness.
experienced life. You hadn't even gone out. I mean, go to college and travel. Do what you want to do.
Right.
Discover yourself, and then you'll discover what you want in a woman to be as your wife.
Understood.
Mhm.
Because they will just cry their eyeballs out for a girl that broke their heart, and I'm like,
Yeah.
she was gone before she came.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on helicopter parents? Are you for it, against it, don't care?
Remind me what a helicopter parent is.
It's the one that literally like they kind of hoover over their kids and they want to
Oh.
know anything and everything about their kids. At times, I feel like I'm a helicopter parent.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, for me, I think that that's just going to backfire.
yeah,
You know, the more you hover, the more you're, yes, do you always, you want to be there for your child?
right,
Absolutely. Do you want to know what they're doing at all times? Yes, right? Because you don't want them to get in trouble. You don't want, whatever to happen.
right.
But I think the more you continue to do that, the more your child is going to go into the opposite direction.
Yeah. And at times I find myself being a helicopter parent just because of the fact that like I give my kids freedom, but at the same time, I'm also trying to watch and kind of hoover and going through their phones and their computers to see what they're looking at.
See, I don't go through my son's phone.
Oh, he's 10 years
I
old.
can't.
I'm going through
Yeah.
his
Well,
phone.
yes, at
Yeah.
10, yes.
Yeah.
At 18, I don't know. I don't want to know what's
Yeah.
on his
If,
phone.
yeah. If he was at 18, I'd be like, more power to you. But
Yeah.
he's at 10 and
For sure.
yeah, if you see him was on his phone, you'd be like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We're gonna be helicopter parents for a minute.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm not. They have their privacy, and I respect it.
Yeah.
I don't clean their rooms. I tell them to clean it because I let them know if I go in there and I find something, like we're
yeah.
gonna have some shit that's gonna be gone. But I don't. I let them discover themselves, be as responsible for your life as you can be. But I do not snoop. I've never gone through their phones. I've never gone through their computers. I trust. Though
Yeah.
they've broken my trust many times and tell me they're going one place when they're going another. However, I have zero control
Yeah.
because regardless if they have my permission or not, they're gonna go do whatever it is
Whatever
that
they
they
wanna
want.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, when we find anything, on any other devices or whatever the case is, or they come across something, it becomes a lesson, a learning lesson with them. So I do try to implement that as well. And I don't know if you knew, but that a study done on 297 students by Schriffrin found links between helicopter parenting and higher levels of depression amongst the students, as well as lower levels of autonomy
Mhm.
and relatedness and competence. I probably said all those words wrong. Third grade education. I'm sorry.
But I can see why the kids would be like that because they're so overprotective. Oh, it's just wanting to know. Yeah, my kids, they do know my expectations of them.
Right.
What is expected of them, whether it's to get work done or chores done. I mean, sometimes it's like pulling teeth. However, they know my expectations.
Right.
So as I don't hover over them because of that.
Yeah.
So.
Nobody's gonna know. Oh.
And that sound means it's now time for the no, the O, and the laugh. It's where we go over, a fact, a message and a joke for every show. So there's never been a toddler in history who didn't touch a juice box and automatically squeeze it. Well, did you know that if you simply open the triangular flaps on each side of the juice box, this doesn't happen? Yep, the two flaps are the perfect size for kids' little grips. If they grip that part of the box and not the box itself, no spillage and no squeegage. And the message is a quote that goes, "The best inheritance a parent can give his children is a few minutes of his time each day." I think we've discussed that in this show. Just give them some time to themselves. That quote is actually by O.A. Batista. And I did want to add, parents, let your kids know that when they mess up, they know it'll be okay for them to go to you. Not that, oh no, mom's gonna kill me or she's gonna get mad at me, versus I need to call my parents. I need to reach out to them. And the joke, what has more letters than the alphabet? You guys don't know?
No.
What has more letters than the alphabet? You guys give up?
Yep.
Yeah.
The post office.
Oh.
There we go. I'll add it in. I'll clean it up. So, in closing, Jen and Noemi, you both are amazing mothers. Never mind the negative stress. Please know that I see you both. I cherish the life. I see you both, the life that you guys both cherish and all of the wonderful moments. You both choose to be kind, you laugh always, and make time for yourselves, your friends, and your family. Those are important. And all the mothers out there, thank you just for being you. Um, Again, I wanted to thank you because I literally see you guys up here. So in the beginning of the show, when I was hyping you up, I wasn't doing it just for personal gain. I literally see you guys as being like phenomenal people.
Thank you.
As we wrap up the show, I want to give you guys a shout out. Jen, where can they find you at?
I am on Instagram and Facebook.
You want to plug that?
Sure. Instagram. I mean, Facebook's just my name.
Okay.
Jennifer Bizzuto.
Okay.
I think Instagram's like JBuzz.
Okay.
JBUZZ.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. All the Niner fans, hit her up.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What's your other teams? The Sharks, probably?
Yeah. Shark. I mean, Bay. I'm a Bay Area faithful. Yeah. Sharks.
But Bay could be a
Giants.
lot of different teams. And California has like a million teams.
Well, I'm not a Raider fan.
Oh, okay.
That's
well,
for
now
sure.
they're Vegas, so
Yeah. Oh, there. Yeah. There you go. So yeah.
Yeah. She did say California teams, but
I said Bay Area.
there we go.
Double
womp. I'm just kidding. By the way. Noemi, where can they follow you at?
On Instagram, it's Noemi_B_realtor, and Noemi spelled Nohemi.
Okay.
And on Facebook is my name, Noemi Beerwalter.
Okay. Anything else you want to plug?
We have a hardware store off 27th Avenue and south of Osborne.
Yeah.
So it's a local hardware store we have there. I am a licensed real estate agent, so anyone who's looking to buy, invest, or sell a property, I'm here to help.
Yeah, please reach out. Again, thank you. As always, Mr. Habari Live himself, Mr. Dip, and Elijah, Wealth for Generations Lee. Please, yeah. Actually, let me give you an applause because I haven't really talked to you all episode, so.
It's all right, man. I enjoy just hanging out in my cave over here.
Yeah, I know, but I apologize. Please like and follow Habari Live Productions, Habari Entertainment, and check out other shows on there like Habari Live, Socially Awkward and Uncomfortable, and Wealth for Generations. Please also check out One Love on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated. Make it a great day. And we're out. Peace.